You know, we've all heard those wild stories of lost civilizations swallowed by the sea, right? Atlantis, Mu, they've captured our imaginations for literally centuries. Well, in this explainer, we're jumping into a mystery that's just as fascinating, the legendary sunken continent of Kumari Kandam, which a lot of people actually call the Atlantis of the East. And let me tell you, this isn't just some fairy tale. We're talking about a legend built on some of the most incredible ancient poetry out there, mixed up with some truly bizarre 19th century science detours, and grounded in very real, massive geological shifts that completely redrew the map of the Indian Ocean.
So, here's the big question. Did a massive, highly advanced civilization actually vanish beneath the Indian Ocean? To figure that out, we've got to look closely at the evidence. We're going to unravel this historical puzzle together by looking at what the ancient texts actually claim, how 19th century scientists kind of accidentally threw gasoline on the legend, and what modern geology absolutely proves. It's a massive journey spanning tens of thousands of years, so let's get right into it.
Okay, part 1. Clues in ancient texts, the maiden continent in Tamil literature.
Now, the whole foundation of Kumari Kandam, which was said to be this vast landmass south of modern-day Kanyakumari, doesn't start with ocean trenches or rocks. It starts with words. Specifically, a very powerful concept, kadal kol. Literally, it translates to a devouring of the land by the sea. It paints this incredibly vivid, honestly terrifying picture of ancient people facing relentless ocean deluges. And the way this word pops up again and again in ancient records, it strongly hints that the loss of this land wasn't just a one-time mythical event, but rather a series of real, deeply traumatic natural disasters that fundamentally shaped their entire worldview.
And the details of these disasters are remarkably specific. If you look at foundational Tamil texts, like the great epics Silapatakaram and Manimikalai, they describe this huge lost territory. Ancient commentators say it spans 700 kavatams, that was an ancient measure of distance, and was divided into exactly 49 distinct territories. It wasn't just empty space. It was a bustling, thriving landscape that was eventually swallowed up by the sea, taking the ancient Bahuli River and the Kumari Mountain down with it. It's this sheer level of geographic and administrative detail that makes the legend feel so tangible. It's like a giant ancient puzzle they left behind for us.
Moving on to part 2, the 3 great Sangams, a golden age of Tamil culture.
See, this lost land wasn't just about geography. It was considered the vibrant cradle of a highly advanced Tamil civilization. The texts talk about 3 great academies, or Sangams. The first Sangam was supposedly held in Tenmadore, a sprawling city that commentators claim is now completely underwater. When the sea swallowed it, the survivors didn't just give up. They relocated and set up Kapadapuram for the second Sangam. And when the ocean eventually came for that one too, they fell back again, finally settling in modern-day Madurai for the third Sangam. It's just this incredible narrative of a culture being repeatedly displaced by nature, yet stubbornly determined to protect its art, its history, and its language against impossible odds.
And get this, the ancient texts claim the Pandya kings ruled over these 3 academies for a staggering 9,990 years. I mean, nearly 10,000 years. Now, sure, modern historians look at that and say, okay, that's definitely legendary, not literal. But the timeline itself is what's absolutely crucial here. It beautifully captures the absolute depth of their cultural memory. For thousands of years, they were steadily moving their people further north with each devastating flood, fighting tooth and nail to preserve their civilization against the relentless tides.
All right, let's pivot to part 3, the Lemuria detour, zoologists, occultists, and lost lands. So we have to carefully untangle 2 very different ideas here. On one hand, you have this profound cultural memory of a lost kingdom. On the other, you have this frankly bizarre detour into 19th century European science. Back in the 1800s, European biologists were completely stumped by the fact that you could find identical lemur fossils in Madagascar and India, but not in mainland Africa. To explain this biological mystery, they hypothesized a massive sunken land bridge across the Indian Ocean and called it Lemuria. And pretty soon, scholars and enthusiasts started mushing this Western scientific guess together with the rich, ancient Tamil traditions of Kumari Kandam.
Tracing this timeline is wild. It shows us exactly how a scientific guess snowballed into spiritual mysticism before being completely destroyed by plate tectonics. In 1864, Philip Sclater actually coins the term Lemuria. By 1888, Helena Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society grab hold of it and turn Lemuria into a mystical, New Age lost continent full of advanced beings. But then, in 1912, Alfred Wegener drops the groundbreaking theory of continental drift. Suddenly, we didn't need a sunken land bridge to explain those lemur fossils anymore. India and Madagascar were simply joined together millions of years ago and drifted apart. The massive irony here is that while the zoological theory of Lemuria was totally dead in the water, the myth had already permanently attached itself to the ancient story of Kumari Kandam.
Which brings us to part 4, science, geology, and tsunamis. What really happened to the coast?
If we strip away all the 19th century occult stuff, what does the actual ocean floor tell us about our deep past? Well, during the last glacial maximum, which was around 19,500 BCE, global sea levels were roughly 120 meters lower than they are today. 120 meters. That is a massive drop in water levels. Because so much of the Earth's water was locked up in giant ice caps, huge chunks of India's continental shelf were completely exposed as dry, habitable land. So yes, there absolutely was significantly more land south of Kanyakumari than there is today, and that exposed shelf would have been prime real estate for early human coastal settlements, offering tons of resources and easy access to the sea.
But obviously, things changed. Modern science, especially the 1999 JOIDES oceanographic drilling program, completely rules out a massive continuous continent stretching all the way to Australia. However, it absolutely validates that there were devastating localized coastal floods. As the Ice Age ended, roughly 10 to 12,000 years ago, all those melting ice caps caused severe and rapid sea level rise across the globe. You add in intense tectonic activity triggering sudden tsunamis, and it becomes absolutely certain that early coastal settlements in this region were suddenly, tragically submerged under the waves.
And that leads us to our final section, part 5, a cultural legacy, the enduring spirit of Kumari Kandam.
So, what does this all mean for us today? Why should you care about these colliding worlds of poetry and plate tectonics? Well, even without a literal sunken continent the size of Africa, Kumari Kandam is so much more than a myth. It's a profound cultural memory of human survival. The ancient stories of the Cuttle Coal brilliantly preserve the real trauma of communities surviving catastrophic climate shifts. Our ancestors went through the terrifying loss of their coastal homes at the end of the last ice age, and they somehow managed to successfully encode that trauma and their survival into their most sacred, enduring literature. There's a quote that really hits the nail on the head here. The legend of Kumari Kandam stands not just as a tale of a lost land, but as a vibrant testament to the enduring spirit of a civilization. I mean, that really says it all, doesn't it? It's the spirit of the Tamil people using art to immortalize their resilience and their heritage against the literal changing tides of time. It's a powerful reminder that while physical land can be washed away, human memory, when it's beautifully encoded in art and poetry, can survive for millennia. So I want to leave you with a thought to ponder. How does human memory translate the very real natural disasters of our deep past into the enduring legends we still talk about today? It really makes you wonder how many ancient myths actually carry the echoes of our planet's true, tumultuous history. The next time you hear a legend of a lost world, maybe ask yourself, what real, forgotten cataclysm is this story trying to warn us about? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer and exploring the fascinating reality behind Kumari Kandam.